Let's come back to South Africa, where we look at the 2021 Matric results having been released recently. Very little was said about special needs schools and how they fared. In KwaZulu-Natal, Azra Ibrahim, who is certified legally blind, achieved the highest marks for special needs schools in the province. The matriculant was from a special needs school in Durban called Open Air School. Azra also came second nationally. BET Software has over the years provided technical learning aids for Azra's school. Azra had adapted papers to write her exams, and she used a computer program to help and a magnifier to read. And in her school, 19 other learners out of 21 got a bachelor's and secured top positions at provincial level as well. So let's find out more. We speak to Azra, KwaZulu-Natal's #1 achiever and second nationally, as we mentioned, Azra Ibrahim. A very good evening to you, Azra. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us. Firstly, congratulations on your achievements. I mean, being #1 in the province's second nationally, that's a pretty big deal. So talk to me, was it your wish to top the list?
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me. No, it wasn't actually. It was my goal to come first provincially. I never thought I would actually get anywhere nationally.
Now, we'll talk about your personal story in just a moment, but the category of your achievements being noted as that of being a special needs school, how do you feel about it?
I'm grateful that there is a category for learners from special needs schools, because obviously we try very hard and put in a lot of effort, but we aren't going to perform at the same level as other learners, because due to our disabilities, no matter how much effort we put, it's good that we are recognized as well.
And I would talk about the mainstream schooling system in just a moment, but I'd like to focus on your experiences at a special needs school. Before we do that, have you always been visually impaired, and has that impacted your life in general?
Yes, I was born with my vision impairment, and throughout my life I've been underestimated a lot and stigmatized because of it.
And as you say, and please talk to me about this, because I also hear people are very particular about the right words to use. Some say it's wrong to call somebody disabled. Some say it's better to be called differently able. Does that matter to you? And how is going to school? How were you able to adapt to that? I mean, even at a school like Open Air, as you say, you were born like that, just the experience from kindergarten up until where you were at school.
To me personally, what my disabilities refer to isn't very important to me. And going to a school like Open Air School was a very nice experience. I got a lot of support from teachers and various other staff members who actually made the experience worthwhile and very nice.
Which was going to be my next question, that do you feel that there was always enough support in line with what you can and cannot do in order to be able to tackle learning and studying? I mean, just the demands of being in school alone are a lot for anyone, and not a lot of people fare as well as you have or even finish school. Tell us about your experiences, your challenges, and what helped you cope.
Throughout my high school career, I did face quite a few challenges. But at Open Air, the challenges weren't as major as the previous ones I did face. Because we do have a lot of specialists and teachers and teacher assistants who are always there to assist. We're never short of staff if a learner needs assistance or any sort of help during an exam, even short notice.
And was it difficult for your parents to be there? Sometimes schools that employ specialists can come very expensively. Was it the same for you or others? Is it easily accessible?
Schools like mine are very in demand, and because of the number of special needs learners, the number of learners accepted at my school is limited, so that each learner does get the full attention of the teacher at different times. And for my parents, they were always there for me and supported me, and they always did try to assist financially wherever they could.
And the resources that are required just for somebody who is visually impaired, for them to be able to adapt and thrive, what exactly are they, especially for technical learning aids at schools? And you say that for your school there's high demand, so I'd imagine because it helps those who have different types of disabilities. But is it something that you find at every school? I guess that's what I'm trying to find out.
Well, no, actually, there's a lot of special equipment that is at my school that is not at any other schools. Some equipment such as high-tech magnifiers that are imported and are very, very expensive and require a lot of electricity to use, you only find at certain schools, and mine is one of them.
So on to what you said helped you through your matric results. You adapted your papers to write the exams. Tell us how, and the computer program that you used as well.
Yes, so my papers were enlarged to a bigger font, which made it easier for me to see them. And I used a computer program called NVDA. It's very helpful to blind and visually impaired learners, as it makes it more accessible for us to use devices like laptops, and we are able to use it at the same speed as any other person.
Was it easy for you to learn it? And I'm asking this in terms of your prior knowledge or any knowledge of coding. Does your school teach you that? Is it something that you picked up along the way in order to survive?
Before I came to OpenAI, I knew nothing about computers I didn't even know how to use one. When I did go to the school, it was a very slow start for me. It took me quite a while to catch on to how to use it, and once I started using it, I became very good at it, and I was able to finish all my exams and assignments and everything on time.
And do you think it's something that can help other learners to succeed who are in a similar predicament as you?
Definitely. Without the computers, various computer systems I use, I wouldn't have been able to finish a lot of my exams on time.
And I mean, we're just showing pictures there of an award ceremony there in KwaZulu-Natal that you attended. Tell us a little bit more about that before we get into the broader schooling systems, what needs to be fixed, etc. Just how does it feel to be recognized for your hard work and to get awards? I mean, everybody wants to be recognized for hard work and actually for the milestones that they achieve.
It really was a surreal moment for me as well as my classmates. At the provincial event, I took first place, and 3 other of my classmates took second, third, and fourth position.
Now, there's always something to fix in any system, and I was reading something written by Justice Zak Yaqub earlier on, who is himself visually impaired, and he was saying that he thinks government's approach to inclusive education is that every person with a disability must be treated exactly alike in the education system. Do you find that that's what happens at schools? You've obviously been to other schools before you went to this one, and what about your thoughts about how your peers experience life where people don't really understand your individual needs? Do you ever feel like you're all put in the same box or labeled the same as disabled, and does it make it difficult for you to rise up, on a fair basis through the education system to be empowered?
I feel there's a real lack of education among the general public about disabled people in general, and I did go to a mainstream school for much of my primary school life, and I did feel like I stuck out a lot. Although everyone did try to assist, but there was those moments where I was treated differently because of my disability.
And I'd imagine that it also infers a weakness that you don't have. Like just because you need assistance to cross the road, people sometimes think then that affects your brain, your ability to compute stuff, to be able to think for yourself, etc.
Yes, that's actually a very common thing for people to think. I really do think the government should implement some sort of program into the school system to educate students so that they do know how to act when interacting with people with disabilities.
And I'm just trying to think, or I'd like to hear from you, how all of this experience that you've had, a mainstream school, at a special needs school, the support systems that you've had, that you've mentioned, have they been able to adequately prepare you now for if you go on to higher learning institutions, the work environment? Do you think that there's a lot still needs to be done that you could help by saying to those watching now or those within the education system that you know you need to look at this?
Yes, I do think it has helped me, but there is a lot of development to do because in higher education, there aren't very many of us with disabilities. So we should be recognized more and assisted where we need it.
Thank you so much for speaking to us, and once again, congratulations, Azra. Azra Ibrahim is #1 in terms of her matriculant achievements in KwaZulu-Natal and the provinces. She came second in the special needs schools category. Well done to you and your schoolmates at Open Air School.